I looked at that and I'm like, dude, I can get there one. Like, you know, it just inspires
everybody
the
can
shit
get
out
there,
of me.
man.
Yeah,
Everybody can get there.
Yeah, and like, how do you navigate though, like the toxic side of the IWC as it's come to be known?
Well, here's the thing: when it comes to toxicity, and not just the wrestling community, but any community online, these are people who are online who want to spread any type of opinion, whether it be good or hatred, online because they know they can say what they want and get away with it. Simple fact of the matter. Now, obviously, with cancel culture these days, when you're someone of a bit of a higher or well-known status, you got to be careful with that kind of stuff. But more or less, I can say what I want, and what are you going to do? You can't punch me through the screen. So that's why people say all types of words to me or to you, and they just go about their day and then just take it as, okay, well, just what are you going to do about it? But when it comes to navigating through it, the unfortunate reality is you kind of have to grow thick skin. Like you have to, and mind you, words, people like to say, oh, you know, sticks and stones. But if someone hits the right trigger, a word is going to hurt. A word is going to get to you at some degree. And especially when you have a mob of people, because, you know, it's easy to be on the mob side when someone has a dumb opinion online, or when someone says something outlandish or does something stupid or does something heinous. It's so easy to be on the quote side, the quote tweet side with everybody else hounding on this person. But when you're on the other side and you're the one being hounded on, dude, it sucks. You know, one of the first videos I've seen of you was actually when you were covering me during the ordeal last year, when I said I wanted to see a Chris Benoit biopic get made. I saw you covered that. You have it right up. Wow. Yeah. I feel like you had this point coming up soon. But yeah, that was one of the first videos I've seen of you. And when this video dropped, I probably had the worst hates and just vitriol I have seen towards me at any point in my life. I had like 2,000 to 3,000 quote tweets. I had people DMing me all types of racist and just incredibly like hurtful things. And you know, at some point, when you have all this stuff going on, and I'm not gonna lie, I did respond to it the first time because I felt like I kind of had to defend myself, because I thought people were misinterpreting what I was saying. But then also people were taking what I was saying and spinning it a whole different way. Like, oh, you like Chris Benoit, you're a defender. It's like, no, I'm not defending the Chris Benoit. I'm not at all saying that I agree with what he did, or, you know, I'm a fan of his. Like, no, I'm saying I want to see his story get told on the big screen. That's all I said. And apparently, yes, that's all I said. And because people have this negative connotation and attachment to the person, they don't want any glorification at all. And what I'm saying is, I just want to see it. I don't want to see it get glorified, but they didn't care about that. All they saw is, you want this villain to be put on a screen for the world to see and for people to, you know, appreciate. And even though it's an art form, we don't care. This is what you want. You want this bad thing, therefore you are a bad person. And the only thing I could do was respond. And when I realized, oh, the response still don't, like, these people still don't care. Like, the response just made it worse. I logged out. Like, sometimes you literally just gotta log out. You gotta log out of Twitter. You gotta just go about the day, because at the end of the day, someone said this online. I forgot who it was, but they said, no one can get to you if you are not looking at what they're saying. Like, if you log off, if you're not online, you can't see anything anyone's saying about you. And I can't say that when you open the app back up, it's going to be sunshine and rainbows, but it's better than being on Twitter for hours and hours to see people say heinous, incredibly like dastardly things about you. So when it comes to navigating through the toxicity, I think you just got to trudge through it. There's no getting better. There's no trying to help and build a better community. You're going to have toxic people no matter what. There's no way around it. So you just got to walk through it and just know this is what it's going to be. Now, if you're somebody on the lower end of content, or maybe you're just a fan, you're fine. When you're someone who gets a bit higher in the hierarchy of content, this is kind of like, info for you. You gotta log out sometimes.
Yeah, you could say they attacked you like rabid Wolverines.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
Any other? If you go to my Twitter, and I feel like people probably did this because they wanted to see, what does Sooplex have to say about Chris Benoit? If you go to my Twitter and you literally search at Sooplex Chris Benoit, it's literally nothing but Chris Benoit and all this type of stuff for me. But no one ever wanted to tweet about that or talk about this or talk about all the other videos I did on Chris Benoit or talk about the fact that when I made my WrestleMania main event series, I didn't even want to cover WrestleMania 20 because Chris Benoit was a part of it, and it would in turn glorify him. I didn't want to talk about it, but everyone said, well, he's part of the main event. This is your series. You should do it. And I said, you know what? You're right. I'm going to do it anyway. And kicking and screaming, I did it. But that doesn't matter because I want to see this film get made. So,
yeah, and I had your back, man. I saw people coming at you hard too, and I was like, hell nah, dude. Like, you can't sit there and honestly tell me Sooplex believes that what Benoit did is a good thing because he wants to see a movie. You all watch TV shows about Jeffrey Dahmer, and I said it a long time ago, but I'll say it again now. Everybody watches shows about serial killers and all that, making a murderer and all this, and you're going to tell me you wouldn't watch a Chris Benoit movie? That's absolutely ridiculous.
They only said that because they have and I said this before, and they don't want to hear it, but they have an emotional connection to this incident because it was a huge part of professional wrestling, and it shaped the mold of a sport, of a art, of an entertainment that they love. And because this guy so negatively impacted that a big part of their childhood or adulthood or their fandom, nothing you say, unless you are on the side that Chris Benoit either didn't do it, he did nothing wrong, or you were just a fan and you will blindly look past all that stuff. Unless you're either one of those three people, you don't want to see any type of medium where Chris Benoit is presented in any way that's not negative, anything that's not this guy. So for that matter, I could have said anything, literally anything else about Chris Benoit, and if it wasn't fuck Chris Benoit, they didn't want to hear it, and no one was going to want to hear it. But because, like I said, of that emotional attachment, fans are going to hound on you no matter what you say.
Or maybe they're a conspiracy theorist and they think Calvin Sullivan did it. The black helicopters are outside, and you were talking about how, like, you got into the American wrestling scene, I guess, again. Right now, you have basically WWE versus AEW, of course. Some people like to take sides, I try to call it like I see it. I started a huge AEW fan. I sort of started falling off. I'm not going to lie. I still do my live show and I watch along with it every week and I try and pick out what's good. And that, I feel like they're really doing some things to show us that they're trying to go in the right direction now again, which I like, stealing some good things from WWE. But ultimately, WWE is firing on all cylinders. My personal favorite wrestling show is NXT. What is Sooplex super into? Like, what is your main you can't miss wrestling show? And do you fall into, like, I'm on Team AEW, I'm on Team WWE, or are you like a fence sit and fill like me?
Listen, when it comes to what show I'm super into right now, really, I'm not super into any show. I kind of just watch the wrestling show that interests me the most at the time. I made a video like about a month ago, which I'm sure you probably see, maybe you didn't see it, called I don't like wrestling anymore. That everyone was like, oh my God, Sooplex is retiring from wrestling or whatnot, which I'm not doing. I'm just saying that wrestling is basically going to be like secondary to my channel come 2025.
Wow.
But yeah, I basically did say that I dropped that bombshell. Wrestling for me is always going to be my first love. It's always going to be, a passion for me. But as a creator, I became very burnt out on professional wrestling, because when you watch wrestling and you do content on it for 10 years like I did, and that's really all the content you do, after a while, you kind of just get almost sick of wrestling in a sense, or you feel like, and after a while, I felt like I was compelled to talk about wrestling, even if I didn't want to, because it was going to get me the views. It was going to bring in, you know, a amount of revenue for me. And I knew this is what my fans and the people wanted. Even though I have other interests, even though I have other things that I wanted to do, people want wrestling. So this is what I have to provide. And that wasn't entirely true, but it's easy as a creator to fall into that mindset that, oh, I have to do this because this, and this. And you know, I have finally sat down, and this is how I've been feeling for like over a year. I've been feeling like this since January of this year. And I think my fans even noticed that I started uploading less wrestling content this year. Like I said earlier, I could be at 100K right now if I uploaded more wrestling content, but I started uploading a lot less this year because I've been burnt out and because I felt like my heart's not in it. And when I think about the future of Sooplex the brand, I'm more than just wrestling. I am a cinephile. I am big into pop culture and music and gaming and all this other stuff. And wrestling is also mixed into that, but wrestling is not all I want to be. So even though my name will always be Sooplex, I do not identify as a wrestling content creator. Like, I am a content creator. And I know it hurts for some people to hear, but no, I'm a content creator. I am not a wrestling content creator. That was Sooplex. Sooplex is a content creator now that talks about wrestling.
I was just gonna say, and you told me before we hopped on the air, you were like, you were saying you deleted your Twitter too. You're like, I deleted the app. I'm done on that. You didn't delete your whole account, but you got it off your phone, to say the least, right?
Yeah, and it was because I've had in the last few months, I feel like I've had a lot of posts that just got quote tweeted, and like there's almost like a mini mob on Twitter that just waits for me to post something and just start it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not about to keep feeding you gremlins. Like at this point, you guys are waiting for me to say something just so that way I could see the hate that comes across this. I'm not going to keep doing this. I'm over this.
Do you notice when you post stuff? Sorry to interrupt, but like, you know, when you post stuff about AEW or WWE, what do you get more like hate for? When you like AEW stuff, or when you're putting over WWE stuff, or when you're hating on one thing? Like, do you notice like, oh, if I post something like more in this direction, then I'm going to get more hate, and I'll do it anyways? Or,
you know, not to go into the tribalism, but it tends to be a lot more the AEW content. Like if I talk about AEW and it's either not correct, which I'm not always correct all the time, I'm not perfect, it's something that, you know, they didn't like, I tend to get a lot more hate for the AEW posts than I do the WWE ones. And it's not to say I don't get any hate for WWE posts, but it tends to be a lot more for the AEW side. And like I was saying, it's like, I know if I post on YouTube, if I post on Instagram, if I post on TikTok, you know, I might get some people who disagree, and I'm okay with people disagreeing with me. You know, if you don't like what I have to say, that's fine. We can agree to disagree. We don't have to see eye to eye. But when it comes in, people throwing insults, lobby death threats, and disrespect, that lies on Twitter more than any other application. So I said, okay, I put out tweets every day. Do I put out shorts every day? No. Do I put out YouTube videos every day? No. But I put out tweets every day. And not only do I get hate for a lot of it, but I don't get paid for any of that. So Twitter at this point. And I said, you know what? I'm doing no Twitter November. I'm hopping off this app. I don't know how I'm going to get my wrestling news. I don't know how I'm going to get my movie news, but I'm about to figure it out, and I'm not feeding into it. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go one whole month with no Twitter and see how my mental health is, see how my content flourishes, because I feel like by not being on Twitter, it's going to force me to put out more short content, because I have opinions that I could easily type out and get out in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
I put that into a video, it's going to accrue more viewership and possibly more revenue. So I said, you know what? This might be for the better. So yeah, I'm doing no Twitter.
I got to start doing that too, man. I'm loose lips on that X app there. You yeeted the thing off though. Sooplex did yeet.
Twitter, I said, nah, I'm just hopping off. And I didn't make an announcement. I'm like, nope, just getting off the app. I don't care. You know where I'm at. I'm on YouTube, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok. You can follow me there.
Yeah. So what kind of content? I know you said it, you're a cinephile, you like pop culture and all that. So you're going to lean into that. You're going to just continue making more like pop culture based content is what you're saying as well? Or are you going to step outside the box, start pranking people or whatever? No.
That is not my alley. I don't like prank content.
Me neither.
No. But yeah, I'm just stepping outside the box. If I want to talk about it, I'm going to talk about it and not feel compelled to be tailed down to one thing. But like I said, the major thing I'm focusing on is movies and wrestling. They're basically going to be half and half now. And then everything else comes in between with what I want to do. But back to your question about, do I lean more towards AEW or WWE?
Yeah.
You know, I don't really, by proxy, I would lean more towards WWE because I watch more of that than I do AEW. But I'm still a fan of both. Like, even though I don't love or am infatuated AEW the way I used to be, because I feel like the product quality-wise has fallen off a lot from where it was in years past, I still like watching AEW. I still watch all the pay-per-views. Like November 22nd, AEW Full Gear. I'm going to be in Curacao on vacation, but I'm still going to likely watch the show. You know what I mean? Do I watch Dynamite every week? No. Do I watch Collision every week? No. Collision's in Philadelphia tomorrow. I'm probably not going to go because I don't care about Collision. But the same goes for WWE. Do I watch Raw every week? No. Do I watch SmackDown every week? No. Do I watch NXT every week? No. I'm pretty sure I'm killing some people's hearts right now saying all this. But no, there is no wrestling show I currently watch on a weekly basis. I watch shows that interest me. If I see a Raw card and it looks good, I will watch that show in its entirety. If there are some matches from Raw that I want to watch, I will cherry pick the matches. I will cherry pick SmackDown. I will cherry pick AEW. But as far as like, am I a diehard for either brand? No, I'm not.